gaining some momentum on the JSE today, so we're up about 1%, a positive start to December, and really holding on to those gains unlike Monday and Tuesday.
Correct, Stephen. We're seeing a globally positive momentum starting with the States yesterday, and we saw obviously China's manufacturing numbers that beat expectations. So really positive, and we're looking forward to hopefully some positive numbers out to the States. And we have come off from a pullback, so we have seen some bargain buying, and also with speculation that the ECB is, will be looking at possibly willing to look at stemming the possible contagion, the debt contagion in Europe. We're seeing all around positivity in the markets today.
Well, you mentioned that Chinese PMI number coming in higher than expected. I think we had better than expected readings also coming out of South Korea and India. UK a good number, our number itself a little bit higher than expected over here in South Africa.
Yes, Stephen, correct. Those numbers are very surprising, coming out higher than expected. We're probably seeing a backlog, a catch-up from the strikes. We're seeing higher commodities prices, and obviously a little bit of a stabilization in the rand over November that is really helping the exporters. So very surprising and obviously very positive for us.
And of course this all follows strong retail numbers out of the US yesterday. We've also had good numbers out of Germany as well. So it looks like this positive data is starting to build at this stage.
Yes, even with the in terms of news, Korea, not without any negative any feedback coming from there, we are also possibly seeing a start in the shift of global sentiment that we might that growth in developed markets are really starting to come through, and a possible the emerging markets might be pulling back slightly with expectations with China. We did see, however, obviously the manufacturing numbers coming up, but we're also expecting higher interest rates coming through in terms of on the 11th and the 12th of December. So we're seeing possibly a beginning of a shift there. So emerging markets still really doing well, but the global picture might be changing with positive data coming out of the States and with Germany. And we saw their unemployment dropping, and that's really supporting the good retail sales out of Germany.
And of course, at the same time, we still have that negative news in the background. We have Portugal in line for a possible downgrade by Standard & Poor's, and that weighing on the euro yesterday. The euro's improved a little bit today, but the European problems haven't gone away, have they?
No, Stephen. One's looked at history, and whenever there's a debt crisis or debt contagion issue, we've seen the IMF coming out previously, and now we're seeing speculation that the ECB will be willing to help out. So even if those, we're expecting that even if those numbers do come out, they are going to step in. They really can't allow the euro to fall over. So it's kind of tepid at the moment. So until we get some feedback from the ECB tomorrow in terms of that speculation, markets are going to remain on positive territory.
Well, in the meantime, we've also had copper picking up quite nicely, and that's supporting commodity prices. We've got the resources stocks on the JSE up very nicely. What's your volumes looking like today? Are they showing any sign of a pickup there as well?
Volumes are looking a little bit better. We've seen a very low average in terms of equities traded. On the JSE today, we're seeing just under 3 billion so far for the day. There's also speculation that we'll see the oil inventories out in the States coming in lower than expected. So really a lot of good news around the commodity and resource sector, and that's really seeing activity coming into the market.
Of course, a number of data coming out this afternoon in the United States. We have mortgage applications, ADP unemployment, ISM number also coming out from the United States. So everything could, of course, change this afternoon depending on that data.
Correct, Stephen. Just off those really good retail numbers, there is expectation that perhaps there is a bit of a turnaround in the States. Investors very optimistic there. So those numbers, if we do get some very good numbers there, we could see perhaps with the absence of anything coming in. There's a slightly stronger dollar this afternoon, but still very positive for equities.
Not much happening on the corporate front today. We do have a couple of small stories. Goldfields investing 8 million rand to try and prop up skills in the mining sector here in South Africa. That's quite a positive move, isn't it?
Yes, Evan, I think we do have a very high skills shortage in South Africa. It's very positive. They see that it's good to invest and definitely to upskill the younger generation to fill those spots is very positive for South Africa and for gold. It's they see a future in the gold industry, with gold reaching current highs and expectation that we're going to see gold, some speculating at $2,000 for next year, is very positive for us.
Anglo Gold also coming out with a story as putting a group together to study deep mining. What do you make of that?
Stephen, I think it's very important, and it will perhaps set aside the impression that gold is a sunset industry in South Africa. I think especially if they get positive feedback and they do have a workable solution for that. Anglo Gold's target for gold is $1,500, and they really want to capture the benefit of that higher gold price. So we'll have to see how that really all filters out and what they're going to implement. But very positive for South Africa.
We have shares in Naspers bouncing back a bit today, and of course this share down 3% yesterday after the company came out with 6-month results. Those 6-month results, though, looking pretty good, with headline earnings growing by 33%. Why the big pullback yesterday?
I think, Stephen, there's when one drills down into the detail, there have been some disappointing numbers. We have a view that they've definitely disappointed in terms of their pay TV. We had expected a higher subscriber base, as well as their Media 24. They really haven't captured the benefit of the higher ad spend budget, which we saw Avusa really being able to do. Overall, a good set of results in terms of that. They've obviously benefited on the pay TV side with the World Cup, seeing an increase of subscribers there. But to maintain that and to see that continue into the new year, we'll have to see if they're able to do that. In terms of the internet side, the Algora side was fairly disappointing, but Melrose fairly in line. So an overall mixed set of results, and maybe some investors looking at the stock, taking a long-term view, buying it yesterday, and we're seeing the benefit of a higher market. Nedbank's got a sell recommendation of the stock. We think it's going to be quite challenging for them in the next year.